when the computer's running this damn slow. Well, what's going on, fellow zombies? Eventually screwed up, sleep deprived, not to mention everybody else in the internet land. 4:53 in the morning. Screwed up. It's in the evening, just about. Pacific Standard Time. Still the 21st of September, 2023. We were down to Rosamond, California. Either you're zombie for today or your diary of the griever named John Weaver. Take your pick. Anyway, yeah, we got a couple of days ago over at Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff, Arizona. Had a bit of a row with a social media toddler brain brat who's out there spewing crap up, and students just fell into a trap. Now, according to what the Young Turks were theoretically reporting, mostly bashing the students, Northern Arizona University, because of the response that Mr. Charlie Kirk came into to torture people by. And they were tearing apart students because they reacted and overreacted. Oh my God, they shouldn't have reacted. I mean, they had a right to it, but they shouldn't have because they should have done this. Well, here we go again with the counterbalance on this one to the Young Turks. Like they know better. But in essence, they were probably right to a point. You know, when you set up feeders and send feelers out, you're mainly throwing chum into the water to see if you're going to be getting a reaction to some kind of either a bottom fish or an actual shark that you're going to be reeling in. And Charlie Kirk was looking for that, and guys like him are looking for that. They want their negative sound bites to increase their own masses. So naturally, we had to stir up the pot in the university over here, who was more liberal thinking in the area. And what a perfect spot to piss off people left and right. Now, over the past, 10, 15 years, the ultra-conservatives have been doing that. Once they're thinking about conspiracy theories and everything else, they love it. They eat it up like chum. They're not the bottom feeders. They're the ones throwing out the damn chum in the first place. And it's us liberals and libtards out there who are reacting or overreacting. We're not thinking. We're not analyzing. You talk about trying to put critical thinking into effect. Unfortunately, the students are not doing so. Because if they had, they would have been figuring these things out, or unfortunately putting it through truth tables or whatever philosophy classes would probably teach them to do, to analyze what's going to be the logical next step. Now, we're dealing with anarchy here. Anarchy doesn't have any logic, but they know how to push the emotional buttons. Therefore, when they come into a campus, and they already broadcasted it by sending out their feelers and also sending out feeders, I did say feeders, because they're trying to see where the chum is going to be sniffed at, and if they're going to get any reaction to it, that's where they go, because they want on camera, they want on video, they want their own power and prestige and ego to be fed. In order to do that, they got to get the reactions. In order to get the reactions, we got to piss people off. So that's what they did. Ticked them off. You go to a liberal college, liberal place, and then you stir the pot up to where you got people thinking and freaking out and screaming and yelling and that they're not allowed to be there. Now, if these guys actually did any thinking about this one, if they actually thought, if you had any political science majors out there in the first place, and I'm going to be addressing this one over to the Young Turks and to Northern Arizona University students over there. This is coming from the lower level of the college campus, the community college level. From an old fart who's already taken a few political science classes a few years back, still working, and I'm still working my way through this college system. As I said before in my videos, I'm taking 2 college courses at a time because emotionally and physically it's easier for me to deal with, so I'm coasting through it. Even as I get older, I'm still learning a lot more stuff to talk about and to learn about, and also to live to regret. Now, I know I said a long time ago that I was one of these kids, but I went into the community college level and got my ass kicked. because I didn't take it seriously enough. I loaded myself up and made wrong decisions. Got the academic letter of separation and damn near became homeless. And if I decided to go homeless, I don't know where the hell I would be after that. But I worked my ass off for 30 years, or longer than that. After my family passes away, actually, my mother passes away first, I made the promise to her I'd complete college. My brother passes, he goes 2013, Dave goes in 2018, so I made the promise to them that I'd complete the lower level. We'll see what happens in the upper level. And during this time, it was giving me education enough how I really screwed up the political system and really to understand where all these nut jobs are coming from and what they want. Anarchy. They thrive on it. They live on it. They are egomasochists, sadomasochists, megalomaniacs, narcissists. They want it all. Their toddler brains screaming in a sandbox. They want more sand when you only got a limited amount of sand in a damn sandbox, but they want it all. And even if they have to get it all and start holding it with their hands, the sand is still going through the hands. There's that little Star Wars quote out there. Princess Leia challenging Governor Tarkin just before the Alderaan planet gets blown to hell and screws up a star system. But we're not worrying about that, are we? No. We get back to Charlie Kirk and others like him. We go into campuses like Northern Arizona University and stir things up over there because they can, they will, and they had. And they got what they wanted. And the other students may feel like we chased him off. No, you just made yourselves even more of a fool at this point. You gave him what he wanted. He wanted more power and prestige. He took it from you. You didn't think this creatively enough. And this probably is where Young Turks are trying to make their point. But they've already been humiliated enough as it is. Don't do it anymore on it. Unless, of course, you guys are the same, or actually the mirror images of Charlie Kirk, and you're still doing the same tactics. Embarrassment. You don't care. You're just like the guys you report. See, the more you go after your enemy at this point over here, you're using tactics just like the enemy does. It's logic, it's philosophy, it's reality check. The more you go after these guys and claim that you're the good guys, you'll have to keep double checking yourself and your standards and your ethics just to see if you guys are in the right. You can't be convinced that you're right all the damn time. You just can't, because now you're feeding it into your megalomania, into your own narcissistic, egotistical minds. You want your viewers and followers that badly, you got to do digging things up from the garbage and producing it to people when they've already put this stuff out there in the garbage dumps already, and you want more garbage to be spewed out? Is that what you want? What? One came from the networks, and he doesn't like government, he doesn't like this, and he doesn't like that. He's got a book out there, and he's spewing his shit out just like every other person out there. In my book, I got much stuff to screw around with your brains. Well, Adam, I'll make fun of everybody else. And then you got a theoretical journalist out there who taught journalism in a college, but she's also a radical. And she doesn't like it. She doesn't like the other people being radical. I don't know what the hell her major malfunction is. She's trying to tell people things her own way and being judgmental at the same damn time. Guess what, lady? Look in the mirror. Oh, I'm sorry, you broke all your mirrors, didn't you? Because you couldn't stand seeing your own reflected images in everybody else. Now, you probably say, who is this guy to judge me? Hey, I'm just a reflective reporter here. I'm just an observer of saying what's going on. I'm seeing these people. And at least I know I am a fool. I'm an idiot at the time. I know I've got my own ego. I got my own narcissism. But the thing is, if I really crave it that badly, I'd be one of you guys. See, it takes a narcissist, it takes an egomaniac to understand an egomaniac. And like you, I wanted attention for myself. I wore tons of pieces of metal, painted, plastic, whatever the hell it was. I slapped it on there and thought I was the greatest person around. I fed that ego. I found out how much that ego is worth. I also found out how there are more important things than feeding the damn ego. And I found out about it way too damn late. So now I deal with the grieving, I deal with the pain, I deal with loss, I deal with a reality check, and I deal with humility and humbleness. But why am I doing these things? Because I talk about me. You talk about the ego. You talk about being narcissistic. Everything has to be around me. No, because I am saying what happened to me, what I observe about everybody else, and I know people are going to be, maybe a few watch me. That's fine. Originally, my channel was a lifeboat for my own memories, for my own thoughts and feelings and observations. But I didn't realize that sometimes my messages or my own feelings and my own viewpoints were getting to people left and right. There's the danger and there's the rub. See, I have to monitor me more and more. I have to make sure that I am a less egomaniac. And call me on it. I expect people to call me on it. Tell it to my face. Tell it to me online. Tell it to me, period. But the one thing I'll never give you is my phone number. You gotta reach me online. Hell, if you live in the neighborhood of Roseman, talk to me in person. Nobody ever does it. Nobody. They wouldn't give a shit. Because the stuff I talk, besides politics, besides dealing and coping with human emotions that tear you and cripple you apart, that also forces your body to even change in ways that you didn't expect, how does that grab you? Human interaction screwed up left and right. This is not crying like poor me, poor me. As I said before, I'm talking about me. I'm not saying I'm gathering people left and right because I want more people to watch me. No, I never said that in the first place. No, what I'm saying to myself is this is supposed to help me. This is supposed to have been self-therapy. If I happen to lose it, I need something that tells people that I had lost it. I want an emotional and physical record. And if I happen to do that final pathway, at least I have a record. At least people saw it how it happened. And then maybe there's a chance for them to avoid the damn thing in the first place. But since I'm here, since I'm alive, since I'm talking, what the hell? And if I see politics going screwy left and right, as I see it, as my viewpoint dictates and demand, then I will report and I will say my piece. And I will expect the feedback. I'm not expecting positive, like, feed me. No, I'm saying, okay, what's the opposing viewpoint? What are the points I had missed, and let's see the common area. Is that too hard to ask for or to talk about? No, we got to talk about bashing people left and right because that's what the other side do, so we have to do that same thing. This is where the progressive media does. Just like the opposition. Just like the opposition. Getting back to the opposition at this point over here. So, Tuesday, Mr. Kirk goes on campus, already sent his warning to the people, and the students responded. And they were ready. He comes onto campus, and he's going to try to talk to students, try to engage in conversation with them. Because these students were savvy enough to monitor this bastard online. They monitored him on social media, my guess. In every which platform they could. And when they found out that he probably made the announcement, he sent it out there. They gathered their forces, and they were going to give him their peace of mind. And he drank it in like Dracula drinking their blood. And he was nourished and fed by it. Because that's what he wanted. And he wanted it on camera. He wanted to see he was a blood-sucking vampire at this point over here, sucking in every damn negative emotion and everything negative out there, and he was going to use it against him. Use the opponent strength against him. Even in martial arts, they teach this to people. I guess maybe there were no martial artists in their group over at NAU. They figured this logic out. They should have realized if he was going to be sending these feelers out there, Kirk was going to be ready for a fight. Guys like him want that negative attention. They are so toddler brained, it's not even funny. They will get the attention. It's like a screaming brat in a shopping cart with a mother freaking out because she can't control her kid. Personal experience, boys and girls. I was a toddler brain, screaming my head off because I wanted attention. I wanted. I'm going to scream it. And then Ma leaves me alone for a few minutes and says she can calm down, so I can calm down. And I'm surprised the cops didn't come in and arrest her, and me being put through the system. But it didn't happen that way. A lesson learned: don't mess around with mothers, especially when you realize they got the power over you, and you can yell and scream all you want. They'll find a way to get to you. You don't mess around with motherhood. In this situation regarding all those toddler brains coming onto campus, they've already got it plotted out. They already got the strategy. Now the question is, are you guys capable of intelligence to figure the strategy out and not play the game? Am I going to tell you what you should have done? Like everybody else is going to? We're going to be playing that game, are we? Concerning about, if you were there, what would you do? I wouldn't be there. I don't give fire oxygen. I don't give fire fuel. I don't give fire attention. And I sure as hell don't bring on the heat. I hear. He comes in there. He wants attention. If this troublemaker, he or she, or something else, would come on campus and say, let's make fire. Let's get a controversy. How many people can we piss off? Well, gee, how many people can they upset? And the answer is quite a lot. Only if you've given them credence to do so. And if you haven't, if you've already given the fuel, you're going to be expecting the damn fire. Now, if they actually had a fire academy at their university, they would have been teaching them the science, the students, the science of this, of how fire starts. Even a political firestorm, you guys should have been figuring this thing out in Political 101. But you didn't. You didn't listen. You didn't care to listen. You wanted in. You wanted to fire. You wanted to fire off at them. I guess Sun Tzu also failed to mention how to avoid conflict. Even Gandhi was smart enough for that one. You don't give in to bullies. You say no to them. Of course they're going to sump you. They're going to try to beat you up because they want that negative fuel. They feed on it. They are leeches. They are vampires. They can't exist without it. They can't exist without an audience. They are that much of a control freak. Their egos are running that high. And they need the high octane off of you guys. And you gave it to them. So now you're going to be hearing about it for days and weeks on this one. Progressive medias are going to be feeding on you guys like crazy. They're going to be running clips. They're going to be running stories off of you guys. And the Charlie Kirks out there, the toddler brains, are going to be so happy with you guys because you got maneuvered. You got suckered into it. The thing of it was just to let them go. They wanted the attention, but if you didn't give the attention to them, you robbed them of the fuel, of the fire, of the blood, of everything else they sucked out of you. Of course you can say everything else that you want to. But you understand that they're going to be throwing it at you in spades at this point. And yeah, there has to be a time to show these guys that you're not afraid of them. Yeah, you can confront them on that one and yell and scream. But keep this in mind, you're going to be fuel for fire now. In order to get off the damn radar, you don't get on the radar. And yeah, they're free to spew off. I keep reaching this thing up, and I'm probably going to get my ass probably corrected one of these here days, and I hope to God I will. Because it means people are actually understanding, listening, and wondering. Skokie. Type that into your word searches out there. Use Google Chrome. Yahoo is fine, but I'm stuck with Google Chrome, so I got no problem with it. Type in Nazi Party versus Nazi Party. And this is the first hit I have on Google. So, if you can read it. Now, you're probably going to be asking me why. Because use this as a case basis. Now, somewhere on YouTube or on social media or maybe one of the streaming, or maybe even if they got a video of the damn thing in actual format, they made a movie off of this. Off of the real thing that happened. And this happened back in 1977. And regarding this thing, this happened in the state of Illinois back in 1977 in a town called Skokie. Now, if you aren't familiar with it, and as kids, if you hadn't seen anything about it, you're definitely not familiar with it. But if you're an old fart like me, I'm 57 years old, yeah, I'd seen it in 77 as a kid. And I didn't understand it then. And it took me a long time and a lot of maturity to understand it now. Even more so. Besides covering the First Amendment rights, it also covers the freedom, how to, and how not to respond. Now, these numbnutses, I know it's character assassination, but you got to have character to assassinate. And I don't think they had a kind of character. So, they marched in. They warned people they're coming in. They're going to be marching into your town and protesting you because you are of a religious and, well, basically you're Jewish. And we don't like you, so we're going over there and tell you that we don't like you too. So there. And we're going to say some vile and vitriol and ugly things about you. Anything and everything about you. You will respond to us. You have no choice. And if you don't respond, we will force a response out of you. And we may do vile and natural things or unnatural things. Who knows? But we're just there to show our presence over there to scare the hell out of you and piss you off. Because we want to soak it in. Feed us the power necessary to control you one way or another. You will do this. Throwing out the dramatics at this point over here, but they had their own dramatics at this point over here. So to go to Skokie, and they're going to be protesting, but they were stopped by the police. And they were arrested. They were thrown to court. And they didn't have any paperwork at the time. Well, actually, they probably did file some kind of paperwork to protest. At least they were legal enough to do that. But in an area of town that was heavily populated by the Jewish community. And they had this hearing, and they were found guilty. They appealed. They went to the appellate. They lost. They went to the Supreme Court. And they won. The argument was they had a constitutional right to protest. The government of a town and of a state prevented their First Amendment rights to be heard. So the Supreme Court at the time said, yes, you have the right. And that's it. They have the right for the freedom of speech. But that's it. Now, my other videos, buried alive like the worms they are, over the past years, had talked about this many times. I am a First Amendment kind of guy. I don't believe in the Second Amendment because the Second Amendment kills people and things and everything else. But the First Amendment is communication, is guarantee of a freedom, but not absolute. There are guidelines, there are limitations. Much like we have laws and ordinances out here to prevent us from going into a police department or fire department or shopping center or a movie theater and say, there's a huge fire in here. Just to be an asshole. You do that to the cops, they're getting your ass busted on this one. You go to the fire department, they're going to say, where. You do it to a shopping mall or a movie theater, you cause panic. And there are laws and ordinances on that one that you do not do that. But you are given the freedom of an absolute, no, not absolute right, but you are given the freedom to say your piece in a government area without any protest. So if it's like a city park run by the government, it's one thing. Is this particular city park in an area of town populated by a group of people that you have an issue with? Technically speaking, as I've learned, and I'm no damn lawyer, but I've learned that theoretically you can up to a point. You are governed also by the city ordinances and state laws that give you areas that you can and can't do this in. Now, granted, you can say I did this in a city park. What's the problem with it? The problem with it, if there's a city ordinance saying that you can't do it because of certain conditions met. You've got the right to protest. Don't get me wrong. You can go over to the town hall. You can go over to the city hall, and you can yell and scream your head off like a crazy person, saying that you hate everybody. Okay, fine. You can hate everybody. That's your right. But there's also hate laws as well, federal, state, and local. So there's only certain portions that you can spill out your crap, but you can still spill out your crap one way or another. But in Skokie, they also had that limitation imposed upon the Nazi Party to prevent them from going into a Jewish community area to scare the living crap out of them. So they can drink in all that negative energy and everything else. Said before, vampires, leeches, they feed upon that kind of stuff. But they were given a time and they were given a place and a permit for that. They didn't like it because they were not in the area to feed upon. But the city said, no. You have the right. You want it through the Supreme Court. But we're telling you where and when you're allowed to do so. The Supreme Court of the United States didn't give you that option. They said you had the right, but not where and when. I guess people keep forgetting this one. So, Getting back to the Charlie Kirk situation, he's got a right. If the campus actually allowed the situation for uh, a panel to be started up, if they allowed an open area for this guy to march into, if it was considered a public campus, maybe there are legal factors that were taken into account. Just showing up on a campus and think that you can spout off your crap, you think you're going to be able to get away with it? You do this over here at the community campus I'm at right now, you got the sheriff's department on your ass. Because they'll be asking you, are you a student? And if you're not a student, what the hell are you doing here? Did you sign up as a guest? No? You just came over here to protest? Understand this. Understand this. Is it government run and ruled? If there are rules and regulations, and then maybe there are legal setbacks on this one. If they have laws governing the campus, if they have city ordinances, they are considered ruled. But here's the thing, are they actually considered owned and operated by the government? Is it taxpayer supported? Yeah, okay. But is it part of the ruling council? Are they part of the ruling state? Are they part of the ruling federal property? No. No. But they are private. Private. Which means you are subjugated. Rules, regulations, ordinances, policies, procedures. The campuses set up. Granted, they can get public funding for them, but they also depend upon private donations for operations. Northern Arizona is no better. They are the same. If it was a federally funded or state funded fully to be considered a public campus, that's a different story altogether, because that's where the First Amendment would really be murky. But it is considered a private, and not subject as a public place would be. Different story. They would be pulled over. Actually, they would be taken out and thrown out of the streets, or on the sidewalk anyway. Out here in Antelope Valley, we have a community college. They are subject to public funding. They are also subject to private funding. They are subject to state laws. They are subject to local ordinances. They also have federal guidelines. But they are not part of any government. They are still considered a private campus. So if a schmuck like Kirk or any one of his ilk comes over there to spew off his garbage, he wouldn't be allowed to do so, because they didn't get permission. Assholes like them don't get permission. They just go on there and try to feed off of everybody, because that's what they do. Students didn't figure this shit out. They didn't do the logic on this one. They fed them, so now they get to reap it all. My take of it. You got to know your damn history. You got to know your political science at this point. You got to weigh it out, pros and cons of what you're dealing with here. What are they looking for? They're looking for your negative reaction so they can feed upon you and use you as target practice. And then throw you up on social media as the willing victims. No, willing participants on this one, and celebrate your ass. Congratulations, boys and girls. You're another Parkland. Yeah. You're another school shooting right now. You didn't have the bullets from the guns. You had the bullets from those conservatives who are looking to use you as target practice. You are nothing but targeted. And now you're going to bleed all over conservative social media with your images and everything else. Because you gave him and you gave them what they wanted, an audience. And the social media, progressive media out there, they're using you as a laughing stock. A complete laughing stock. This is a warning for every system out there, every college campus, from the lowly community to the university levels. You're going to be enduring these assholes. You want them to give them the show? Give them a show. Give them a no-show. Make the area a void. Make the area devoid of people. Give them what they don't want. Zero audience. That'll piss them off even further to search into campus. And that way, you'd give law enforcement a chance. If they've got the permits to do so, to protest, I hope they tried to work it out with the campus on this one, because then the students are going to have fun with the campus people on this one. How? Because if the campus actually allowed public discourse, they ought to be aware of the fallback on this one, of the fallout on this one, I should say. What about those private donors out there and those people who are supporting the colleges? Are they just as screwed up as the people who came onto campus to show off just how ugly Skokie versus the Nazi Party can actually be? If this happens over at Antelope Valley College, and if I happen to see these guys, I'm walking away. I'm not going to give them the fuel. I'm not going to give them any resources. I'm not even going to give them my air. I'm going to avoid them. They say, you're a coward. You don't want to do this. I'm not going to give you any fuel for your damn ego. How about that one? Of course they're going to yell and scream. Confront me, face me, I want this. No, you want to feed your face. You want to feed your egotistical brain. I'm not going to debate. You can call me a coward all you want. I know what the hell I am. But if I am going to be coming back for fire on this one, I'm not going to like the consequences. I've already seen consequences. Too much of them in my lifetime. Too much have I learned about it. Maybe Gandhi was right a long time ago. Maybe Sun Tzu was right. Deny them the battle. You don't give in. They want the conflict that badly. They want to prove their point is superior in moral to everybody else. There's a time for fighting. Time for debate. And I don't have the time in my life to give you either. Deal with that one.